Absolutely massive. On the back line, we got Luru just absolutely pummeling them. Pure Llama freezing so many folks as well. Lots of ice damage coming out from the Ice Phoenix. And then we got on the back line, Utility Monster brought so low, and Pure Llama is nearly almost gone, but they've still got the egg left, so theoretically, this is perfectly fine. Oh, Civil Lock with the ankles. Right up, so close. Pull it in the trundle is gone. Jeff got picking that up, and now we can see the Baron has basically been leashed at this point. Lifeform Disintegration Rate is going to absolutely delete Double kill going over to Civillock. Just so much knowledge being consumed by this Void Monster. Civillock is just absolutely earning his grades. Look at the geometry angle again. Out could prove me wrong here any second. We do have the Maokai ultimate managed to catch out the multiple members of YUBI. Olaf gonna be brought exceptionally low, having to go golden, trying to stick alive. Dawn's Refuge is not gonna be enough as Jeff God picks up the Maokai, moving in on this backline. Trying is gonna get completely walled off of. Brian gonna get deleted. The Stand United Shed Shield, absolutely massive and clutch, allows for him to just survive. Now we got Kaiser picking up the double kill, deleting Tef, deleting all of the members of SLR, and that is gonna be game as the final super minions are pushing in on this base. Hello folks, welcome back. We are on match point for Universal Basic Income. They are looking to take it all here in the Mythic Grand Finals. I am your friendly neighborhood shoutcaster, Sharugan, and I have got Ultravox on the desk joining me today. And that is going to be hopefully this, in my opinion, I hope it's the last match. I just want to see this blowout just completely stomp everything.
YUBI fan detected. He wants YUBI to win the whole season in the Grand Finals of FFS6 Mythic Season 6, everybody. You heard it here first. Universal Basic Income, man, these guys, they already won Heroic a million times, man. Give it a rest, okay? SLR, this is their time to come back. Let's see what they got up their sleeves. Seems like, you know, typical bans. This time, though, they are opting to ban away the Maokai instead of picking it themselves. That's exactly what they did last game. They've selected blue side again, so could be Varus first picked again. I think that's a very safe pick for Luru, good into a variety of different compositions as well. Could be any number of 80 carries here. Okay, and there it is.
You called it right there. That Varus first pickup, and it's going to be responded with probably a Volibear.
Yeah, Volibear hovered. I think that it's really not great into Varus, especially since it's easy to find yourself just bound up and then taking a crap load of % health damage, which is what Volibear loves to stack, of course. But I do like it. It does let utility just play, you know, a high tempo early game jungler that's very easy to pilot, very easy to find effectiveness on. They will be locking that in. I would like to see an 80 carry picked up here for Jeff Godgamer. Maybe he wants to pick the Kaisa again. Maybe he wants something else. It's Misfortune that is the hover, and this could be spicy. There it is, signals that YUBI wants to be the team fighting team this game.
They absolutely do. I like the Misfortune pickup in theory. I don't necessarily like it into a Varus just because of the range disadvantage where Varus is able to poke you out so easily. And if you pair it with something like this Rakan that's getting hovered, which is very safe, but also very engage heavy as well, and provides some really good disruption should Misfortune try to ult, because she's a sitting duck at that point. It's not like Jhin where you're half the map away, but you're like right on top of them. So that's going to be potentially very bad. And this Bel'Veth pickup is also really interesting. I like it because it's going to provide a lot of early game pressure if they get those Rift Heralds. And again, Civillock with the staple Vel'Koz.
Yeah, Civillock's Vel'Koz has looked great throughout this series. I'm a little bit concerned versus Tef's Rakan. Tef, very skilled Rakan player, going to be able to get on in there and try to just bypass utility, dash their way to the backside and try to lock up whoever they can, open that one up for Fang over Fang on the Bel'Veth. This guy's trying to be like Leaves, like TD Leaves. This guy, he's picking Bel'Veth in 2022. Are you kidding me? This character's an interesting character for sure. I think it's really fun to watch you dashing around everywhere, but is it actually effective? You know, we're gonna have to see if Fang can actually pilot it, you know, to any successful end.
I think the champion itself is actually rated fairly highly on Lolalytics. I'm pretty sure it's in either like A+ or S tier, if I remember correctly. It may have been on the last patch, though, and there was something I missed in the patch notes that caused it to drop down. But again, you're right. Is Fang going to be able to pilot it as well? And then we're looking at these top bans. We have the Mordekaiser taken away from Red, which is one of the things that he loves to counter. So there's also the Urgot being taken away. So both of those top lane champions are now gone. We have the Morgana hover for Brian saying a little bit interesting. I like the purpleness and the blue theming we've got going on over in Universal Basic Income to kind of counteract the blue and purple on the side of SLR. It is an interesting choice to pick up the Morgana here. I do like how much more defensive and how much more team fighty it is. It is a very different style, though, for Brian saying.
Well, I mean, Uh, he did play versus TDE, of course,
Yes.
but alongside Caitlyn, which is like a classic matchup, right? I think that the main goal here is you put Black Shield on Volibear, and he just runs through everybody, and there's nothing you can do.
There we
you
go.
need something to pop it. Ornn's a good start. Need a magic damage mid laner here to shoot through that Black Shield and eventually CC the Volibear. And that's not the one I was thinking of, but it certainly is a character. Oh my god. Okay.
The pain!
This is not a drill. Pure Llama has selected Zilean, and alongside Belveth, man, this could be one spicy mid-jungle duo. That's going to be a very fast Void Manta thingy. Going to be just flitting around everywhere. I can't wait to see him combine powers. And finally, to round out the draft, it's going to be Sejuani coming in for YUBI, going up to red in the top lane. Great matchup in Ornn, I think.
This is already very gross. I don't like it. I do not like Zilean. Oh my goodness! Of all, like, I don't know if it's my most hated champion. It is definitely up there, but it is a very disgustingly powerful champion. You could also put it. You could rotate it to mid lane, which I think would be exceptionally hilarious to see Pure Llama on a Rakan, because we have seen some very powerful Rakans, but I doubt that's what's going to be happening. I just like Dream World. In regards to what we have picked out for Universal Basic Income, which one do you think is going to be top lane, Sejuani or Volibear? Because we have seen Sej in the top a lot lately.
Definitely Sejuani, I think. I think that Sejuani is a better matchup into Ornn overall, and it leaves Volibear to Utility Monster, which is like, I guess they're both, favorite picks of his, but whenever I think of Utility Monster, I think of like Zac and then Volibear. So that's what I think.
True. All right. Well, as we hop onto the Rift right here, we do have the classic 5-stack. Fang looking to get a little bit spicy here, going in, trying to get some wards off. Gonna find themselves walking right into a ball from Vel'Koz. And no early bloods, I think, this game, though. I think they learned their lesson.
Yeah, Anti is subdued on Ornn this time. Can't make too much of a level 1 splash this time, especially versus the Sejuani 2. Red, he has the Ignite up there in the top lane, eschewing Flash, going for a stronger all-in versus this Ornn and a more effective side lane overall. And we can also see that Luru packing a cleanse on the other side, ready to escape from any binding that might land onto him, thrown his way by Brian Sang. So some key summoner choices to note there.
It is going to be a little bit more of the keep the Varus safe. He's just going to be sitting on the back line poking off. I honestly expect, like, out of these two comps, I like SLR's draft so much more than I like YUBI's, because YUBI's, while it's strong and does have good team fight potential, the amount of damage and the amount of disruption and annoyance that this Zilean has the potential to drop is going to be really, really important in these team fights, because if you basically make it to where you've got a Guardian Angel at every fight for whoever needs it, it's going to be really, really painful.
Okay, that's a spicy take. I'm going to oppose you here. I think that YUBI's comp is way easier to pilot. They have MF and Vel'Koz. You just slam the R buttons, you win the team fight. You have two beefy guys to stand in front of you and a Morgana to provide CC. So I'm on the complete opposite opinion here.
Well, that's always a good thing to have, because then you got dissenting opinions. So you're basically saying we've got a closeout coming out here, and I'm like, no, we're going into game 5 for scripts. If Tef plays like that, though, it's definitely going to be a closeout.
Oh, really? No, I like Tef getting aggressive there. That's pretty high. Binding dodge as well. Tef's slippery,
Oh, Jesus. This is basically the last game all over again between Anti and Red. Both limit testing each other.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a lot more even this time. It's not as polarizing as Trundle for sure. It's gonna be fun in its own right, even if they are just procking grasp on each other the entire lane over. We can see that the junglers are on opposite sides of the map. I think the gank is much better for Utility Monster moving upwards at this point in time, but it does seem like the wave is pushing in towards Anti here. Might be tough to get in. Instead, will do his signature full clear. Same thing with Fang over Fang, just taking it slow, taking it nice and easy. It will be YUBI with the spot lane prio too. Maybe a gank opportunity down there.
Could be one. We're going to be looking for it. Civillock taking some nasty bomb damage from that Zilean is going to be a little bit painful. Red, not like that glacial armor is going to be really, really important for Red. It's going to allow them so much extra defenses. They just got to make sure they keep it stacked up.
Yeah, I think Red can just base here, but Seems like he's sticking around to help utility with the crab. Decides to, be a good guy, stick around, make sure his jungler has all the resources he can get. We have Fang hovering down near the bot side as well, sweeping out. We'll take the crab on the opposite side. And the junglers, complete pacifism route so far. If you don't count the jungle camps, they're not people.
I guess for some people that is very, very true. It's like they're just animals. They don't matter.
Yeah, they don't even think. They just stand there and wait to die, right? Like,
yeah.
That's how that works.
Preseason though, we're gonna have our own little jungle animal that's gonna be following us around, so that's gonna be kind of interesting to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. Pokemon's coming out in a week. League of Legends. That's pretty great.
I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to it. Utility monster just, asserting his dominance, walking through lane, being like, "Hi, I'm here. I exist in this game. You better watch out." I do like the pings coming out from the side of YUBI as they're like, okay, so we know that Bel'Veth is over on the top side of this jungle, so they're just going to be looking for it.
Ridiculous. By the way, the junglers aren't backing. They're starting the second clear without having based. Handshaking and doing it. That's ridiculous.
It's just, you're like, you know what? Let's just make this as devastating a game as possible. Ooh, nice guide on that binding. Does manage to catch out Tef. Unfortunately, Brian saying very low. There's what I was talking about with that Varus damage. It will just chunk you.
Yeah, chunked indeed. Brian saying drops pretty low, sticking around in the lane though, has the biscuit for a little sustain. I think that, nobody has backed yet aside the mid laners. I guess the top lane is back too. So that's fine there, but junglers and bot lane haven't backed yet.
Anti gonna get frozen, although does go unstoppable at the last second. Does not get the knockup, but does get the brittle proc, so that is gonna be a lot of damage in this top lane, and it is just, so spicy going back and forth between these two.
Yeah, Anti getting the push there, almost kills out Red.
Yep. Sejuani wants the soup. She wants the orange soup so bad.
The orange soup? Is that a thing?
It's from the lore video. Oh, the damage! Oh, that damage!
HP. He is 20 HP as we tune in there. Definitely sub 15. Anti almost kills him out. Utility's here to collect this wave though, building up that CS even more here. 43, he's got almost the highest in the map. The only other jungler, because they're just farming. That's all they're doing. They're like, okay, I'll clear my camps and you clear yours, and we won't do anything, and nobody's gonna die for the first 10 minutes of the game, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's basically how it's going right now. Luru getting a decent chunk of damage. Pure Llama though is like, look, I'm level 6. Let's just dive this, dropping the bombs onto Brian's head. Ignite is gonna be dropped as well. Luru taking tower shots, but the first blood is gonna go over to Zill, and they manage to pick it up. Tef is so low right now. Oh, and so is Luru. Everyone is just hanging up by a thread. Pure Llama does not get taken over by the bomb, but look at this. He's like, it's fine. I got this. I'm Zillion. I have damage. I will delete you. Oh my goodness. Pure Llama dominance and taking out
He's executed. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. What a great roam from Pure Llama, but it's just overplayed a little bit, and it results in key members going down. And Civilak, he's got Ghost down there. He cleans up as well. It's dead even once again on that play, even though it started off looking so good for Llama and the SLR gang. That is going to feel pretty tough. Your Zillion got the kills as well. That's really not who you want the gold going on. He's just going to be doing the same old Zillion things. Now Red might be in trouble.
Red is going to be in a lot of trouble right here. Fang's going to be jumping in, but nice stun coming out as the ultimate. The flail just does so much to lock them down. Huge bola from Red. Unfortunately, that is going to be a disabled gank right there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, great ult and fantastic movement to boot as well. Red, no slouch in the top lane. Been performing all season, even in the Heroic League, on a completely different role. He does it all. Opens up this dragon for utility monsters to solo out. Now Brian saying he's screening here, sees the SLR members that are coming to attack Jeff. Everything is all chill for YUBI now as they put the first dragon in their pockets.
The geometry does not find Pure Llama. He avoids the Void Rift as well, but this is going to be the Rift Herald started right here. This is huge for SLR. They know they have to take this, so Yubi's like, look, we got to contest. We got to do what we can to keep them from getting it. Ornn, Anti is looking for the knockup, gets pushed back out of the way, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to get it. Huge bullet storm coming out from Misfortune. JeffGod managed to get the shots off. Look at this. They're trying to take down this Rift Herald. It's hugely contested. The smite's going to drop down. Brian manages to pick it up, taking down Fang over Fang. And so unfortunately that means there's going to be no Void Coral. And now we got the resurrecting Ornn as the Zillion ultimate does bring him back to life. But it's not going to be enough. The Chrono Shift was shifting in the wrong direction.
That fight looked so good for UB at first, and then it looked really bad, and then it looked really good again. They somehow pull it out. Oh, Red survives on, again, single-digit HP. How many times have we seen that in this game alone? It's insane, and they're winning on these small margins, finding these good picks here. Brian saying, landing, binding after binding, making the fight happen for UB. They collect the lives of SLR, and also they do lose out on the Herald, though. That is the one thing. Anti has it in the pocket. We'll be able to find some way to use it to claim some place. But look at Tef!
Oh my goodness, Tef! Oh my gosh! I wasn't even thinking that he would be able to get that. Misfortune just burned away.
It's just so random, too. Like, why is Jeff backing there, and why is Tef walking up there and killing him?
Yeah.
It's nuts. This game's crazy. This game's crazy.
Yep. It's just, you know, the silver decision making. I do like Anti's decisions to use the Bellows Breath, doing a really good job getting their knockups, nice brittle procs as well. Means this fight has been going relatively even for them. Unfortunately, they are down CS, so they do need to make sure they're careful about that, not falling too far behind.
Yeah, and I think in the top lane right now, having the bombies and the cooldown boots are going to be much better for winning the 1v1. Yeah, Red's going to be a little bit less tanky, but doesn't really matter. He's softened up Anti.
He has definitely softened Anti up enough to the point where they have to be really careful here. Unfortunately, their health bar is not going to last for very long, as Red missing the flails. Okay, so it's going to last a little longer than it should. Missing the flails, so they're not able to actually get these hits off. There we go. Now Anti is gone and deleted.
Stalled for as much time as they could, but ultimately will go down. Big wave going to crash into turret as well. Anti starting to lose out on a lot of these resources, and Red pulling ahead in this tank versus tank matchup. Going to be the more effective frontliner later on. Going to be better in the side lane. SLR, what's their response? They're attacking bot lane again.
Yep, once again, it's just kind of, you know, doing what they usually do. We don't have any major objectives on the field right now. YUBI did a fantastic job just completely negating any advantage Bel'Veth had with that. Pure Llama, good last-second dodge of that right there. Tef going in a little too deep, way too spicy, does not have anyone there to jump away to right away, so that was a little sus.
Just a little bit, yeah. I respect going for the damage when you can, when you know there's no binding. You know, that's pretty good. I like Tef's Moxie, you know. They're getting in there.
Yep, getting in there, getting a little bit more, trying to get that engage, trying to get onto the JeffGod gamer with the best skin for Misfortune, in my opinion. Now we have got here in the top lane, Rift Herald getting dropped, so we obviously Anti wants to get some damage here. Gonna get themselves some gold just straight up from these tower plates, which is gonna be really nice. Brian is gonna be dissuading any form of engage too. Luru having to ult Utility Monster. Unfortunately, it's not going to be up. Utility's just going to be like, no, we're doing this. Come here. Goes in for the dive. Cleanse is going to be popped, but the snipe is going to come out. Anti's going to get the knockup because, unfortunately, when you jump in a straight line, they know exactly where you're going to be. Vel'Koz does not manage to find the target with the geometry there. Luru, oh my goodness, the arrow is just waiting in the wings, waiting for Utility Monster. They don't manage to find him right away. The stun's not going to come out in time as the arrow is going to be shot point blank, picking up the Volley Bear. That is a good job by a Hunter. Luru able to pick that one up.
Yeah, Tef was on the long flank the entire time. See it all the way from back here. Oh, something happens in the top lane too. Does Fang die here? I didn't even notice that.
I hope Fang doesn't go down here. That would be very unfortunate for them. Let's see here. Fang is going to get pincered by Brian, maybe? So we have the bullet, the rain. Make It Rain's going to come down. Knock up is going to come out. Brian Sang's going to find it. Black Shield means that they're not going to be taking a lot of damage, and unfortunately, you're going to be stuck in place. Zillion Ultimate's going to get dropped, so we're going to see a resurrected Fang over Fang get boloed right away. So that is just CC layered on CC layered on CC layered on CC.
Yeah, oh, it's so good. You can see how good Brian's game sense is there, just marking Fang and following him all throughout the jungle. So good. You know, locks him down. Easy kill for Jeff and the gang up there. It's gonna be looking really, really good. Now Fang is on a scaling character, almost has the mythic item completed. You know, it's the hope isn't dead for SLR. They're at a disadvantage right now for sure, but they are going to struggle here as this next dragon comes up. It will spawn. YUBI has the first move, and it's going to be difficult. They're not even going to try to contest it. Fang's on the other side of the map here. They
Yeah,
have room to give at least this one, and I think one more, and they absolutely have to fight on third Drake.
Absolutely. You can only give over so many, especially depending on what soul actually gets dropped onto the field, because you really don't want to see a 4-stack or an early soul like that, because yeah, the Elder would be useful, but at the same time, it's like if you can't activate it, then what's the point?
Yeah, and it's really difficult at this point if you're SLR. You know, you have Zillion as your mid laner. It's tough to get prio versus Vel'Koz. Your AD carry is just scaling to high heaven. Difficult to team
fight here in the top lane. Anti getting brought very low, unfortunately. That is a lot of slows, a lot of ice damage coming out from Red. The Ignite is going to get the kill. So that is going to be a dead Anti as Red once again pushes in on this top tower and is probably going to be taking it. So that's really good for YUBI.
Yeah, and Anti's just been struggling in these past few games. So many deaths in the previous one on Trundle, and now struggling again on Ornn. I mean, at least you're so much more useful this time on the scaling tank character. It's not over yet, but Red's acquired a huge advantage.
Oh no, Fang is getting caught. There's so much damage getting absolutely deleted. This ultimate on Misfortune was stopped and disrupted, but it's not going to matter as YUBI is just dismantling poor SLR. There's nothing they can do. Utility Monster ulting in order to try and stop that tower and keep the engage going. Not going to be able to, but that's just going to be second Rift Herald completely free for YUBI.
Yeah, SLR just obliterated in that fight. They got caught out by Brian Sang's CC. Impossible to contend with. You just have such a tough time when you're playing Velvet here and you have to face check into like the likes of Morgana and Volibear. It's very, very difficult for SLR if they're not there first, and so they will pay the price there. 3 members go down. Gold lead widens up to 4K for YUBI, and they claim the Herald here, ready to pop it, close out this mid turret, open up even more of the map, try to play the vision game that they like to play. It's looking really, really good for YUBI at this point.
It really is. It's kind of one of those exciting spots where we're about to see our grand finals coming to a close with YUBI picking up the win in Mythic and Heroic, which is just crazy. Oh my goodness, they have just shown so much dominance in this FOF series, and unfortunately, SLR is doing what they can to create a stopgap, but is not able to.
Yeah, Anti's getting attacked again. Homie can't catch a break. That's tough to see. Just getting pummeled up there. Jeff's been farming up in mid the entire time. 120 CS on every single laner for YUBI, and that has got to feel good. I feel like Herald definitely doesn't need to come out there. The turret has 1 HP. I'm pretty sure Utility misclicked it.
I was gonna say, I think that may have been a attempt to drop a normal ward and been like, oh wait, whoops, I picked up Rift Herald.
Civillock, he's got a ghost out of there.
Civillock is fine. Civillock ain't worried. There we go. Got a nice bowl stun coming out on Anti. Anti's health bar just doesn't exist for Red. Red is just like, nah, fam. You going down. So look at this. This is just gross. So much you can't do versus Sejuani. Got the double stun and everything.
Just chases you down. It's the % health damage too, unlike the bowl and all the stun procs. It's so difficult to contend with. The finished Sunfire Cape also making a massive difference. Just in how much damage Sejuani's able to put out.
And the lack of a finished mythic or full item on the side of Orin is just making it that much harder. Double the CS, Fang over Fang getting caught out here in this bot side river. Utility Monster's like, wait, maybe I bit up more than I chew. I can't do a 1v3. So that is going to be Fang picking up the Void Coral. So they are able to get into their super form right now. They have
still alive in top.
I think it is.
Look,
It's still going.
It charged. It got half of the inhibitor HP. Okay, I thought it was a Herald misclick. That was one of the highest value Heralds we've seen so far.
You know, that was definitely probably one of those things where it's like, you know what, okay, that ends up working out very, very well.
Yeah, doesn't even matter. Utility can go wander off and die in bot lane. Doesn't matter. He got the most perfect Herald in the universe. Outer turret, inner turret, inhibitor turret, and half of the inhibitor, and it's so much gold in the pockets of YUBI as well. 4,000 gold, you know, still sitting very, very comfortably here. Key items almost getting completed. Does seem like Jeff's moving towards the Bloodthirster as well to just have that extra bit of sustain in these fights. Mid turret might just go down here as well, and if YUBI claims this, okay, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be given the opportunity, but they were able to claim that. Makes setting up for Dragon just that much easier. 40 seconds on that timer.
Yep, 40 seconds on that timer means it's going to be coming up here shortly. And unfortunately, because it is a, I don't think it's a Cloud Soul. I'm pretty sure it's a Hex. No, it's not a Hex.
It can't be a Cloud Soul.
It is Hex Soul.
You can see the Hex gates on the map, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like my brain just wasn't working there. There we go, Fang over Fang getting shot up quite drastically, but unfortunately Jeff God is going to have to get themselves out, canceling the ultimate. Now we got more damage coming out from the side of YUBI as Fang over Fang getting brought down is deleted. Red going a little too deep, finding themselves in a bad position, but that percent health damage in the Sunfire Cape is burning away the health bars on SLR. The Ignite comes out on a Pure Llama, so that's another kill, and triple kill over to Vel'Koz, and an ace for YUBI. That is so devastating to this push from SLR. There is not going to be a lot that they can do. The Dragon is going to be free for YUBI.
It's unbelievable. It's a clean.
Oh my goodness.
They can't keep getting away with this. Jeff living on just a sliver of HP there, finishing out the fight strong. Red tanking the entirety of SLR's damage. It's insane. It's obscene. Now YUBI, they claim the third Drake. They put themselves up to the soul point here. I cannot believe how far ahead they are. We did not expect them to be busting out this strong in this series. We thought this was going to 5 games for sure, but they are ready to assert dominance. They're ready to close this one out after they take their recalls here. And they're ready to find even more success versus this SLR squad.
You know, it's almost like they went ahead and were like, you know what, let's let them win the first game just so they have hope. Just so that it's that much sweeter when we crush them in what technically is a 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened at TDE yesterday, too. We won game 1, and then we got slammed across the rest of the 3 games that happened. It's just the script. Sunga, if you're out there, you're lazy. You reuse the same script. You accidentally picked the same one up off your desk today.
Basically. Oh my goodness. And now with the way this is all playing out, we're going to have Anti get a nice knock up here onto Misfortune. Misfortune's going to get deleted, so they're not going to be able to survive this fight. They're going to be gone. The kill's going to go over to Rakan, unfortunately. Luru is going to get taken out on the backline as Utility Monster just shreds him with those bear claws. And those are not the sweet, sweet treats that you want to be eating at 5 a.m. in the morning. And now we got Tef getting revived by the Zillion ultimate just to die once again. YUBI is just absolutely deleting everything. Again, Utility Monster with the unhealthy bear claws is gonna go golden and get stunned underneath this tower by Llama and get shot down by the Zillion as the time god's like, look, your time is up. Just die already. And that is gonna be, and unfortunately, the push is gonna keep on going because YUBI's just got the health bars, they've got the damage, and now they're probably gonna rotate for this Baron.
I think it's too dangerous. They can't. They're just gonna get vision and walk away here because.
They're gonna wait right here at the Hex Gate. Luru, what are you doing? Don't blind Hex Gate into 3 members of YUBI when you know they're moving top.
Oh no, it's a disaster. No, until he's up in 4 seconds. And he's gonna be able to get on out here. Fang,
he's gonna get rooted. Oh my goodness, Brian is just like, no, stop. No more.
Brian's Morgana is menacing to say the least. As somebody who's personally played against it, very difficult to contend with. Now Utilities respawn. He's back in the map. Sure, he's clearing his Krugs, but he's ready to fight at this Baron if necessary. Jeff attending the mid lane as well. YUBI, they're just in prime position to keep on pushing it out. Jeff doesn't even have 2 items, but Simulok sure does. He's working his way towards that death cap, and once again, he's going to be a strong squiddy in this next fight.
Yeah, he's going to be a strong boy, just absolutely terrifying. Anti's doing what they can in this top lane, pushing it back out. They've been getting some really good ultimates off and getting some really good knockups, but it just hasn't been able to get capitalized on by SLR. They're just unfortunately so far behind at this point.
Yeah, the gold gap is immense. 8,000 gold difference at 22 minutes into the game. SLR needs a miracle to come back from this one. It's going to take a whole lot. YUBI's on the precipice of claiming the title here in the grand finals for the Mythic season. And it's just going to take one more fight. Look at Utilities on the flank.
He's on the flank looking for that engage. Anti's gonna get the Call of the Forge. Got double knockup. No, only the one, but it's okay. The utility monster is gonna get frozen in place. Anti's gonna get shot in the back by the Misfortune. We see Pure Llama taking the bear down. The bear is gone. And now Luru's gonna get deleted by the life form disintegration ray. And unfortunately, Jeff God's gonna get knocked up. So much damage coming out from SLR. They're trying to find their way out. Orn is able to dash away, but is gonna get locked in place long enough that he's gonna take some extra damage. Civillock looking for the angles, hits Tap, doesn't find him with the Void Rift, so that means he's going to be able to get out alive. Pure Llama's the only one here to defend this, but unfortunately, if YUBI decides, they can just jump on his head. Oh my goodness, there's not a lot that SLR is able to do. They're trying to heal themselves up, trying to protect this inhibitor. They do manage to save the inhib, but the inhibitor turret is gone.
Okay, that fight could have been a lot worse.
What are you doing? You're by yourself, going in super deep, trying to find an engage. Does get the knockup, the Black Shield a half second too late, but they're going to get frozen in place, and now Utility Monster's here. Bang, once again, you're just going way too far. He's going to get Bolo frozen, does somehow manage to get out alive, but unfortunately the ultimate is going to have to get dropped on Orn to keep them in this fight. Now we got Zillion, Pure Llama is going to get blasted away, Misfortune on the back line, and that is going to be game, I think. This could be the final push.
That's it for sure. There's 30 seconds on the death timers. It's insane. YUBI once again with the clean ace. They are ready to close out the season and claim their title. They're ready to claim victory right here, right now. All they have to do after that fight is push down the last remaining structures, push down the final Nexus turret, and enjoy the victory lap as they fire off the laser in celebration. What a miracle for them. Civillock showing up huge, Utility coming up clutch, every single person performing on the YUBI squad today to make the dream happen.
That is going to be your grand finalist victors, Universal Basic Income. They have proven they are the superior economic system. Oh my goodness, what an absolute insane series as we see them pick up not only Mythic, but they have also picked up Heroic. These are your friend or foe Mythic champions.
It is unreal to see the continued success of YUBI. Somebody do something about this. I'm begging anybody, put a stop to the rampage of the Cat Boys. You can't keep letting them get away with this, but man, it's gotta feel good. It's gotta feel good for those guys. I love them to death. Good friends of mine. Congratulations to Universal Basic Income for taking home the dub today. Man, that was amazing.
Absolute insanity, and that is going to be it. We're going to be taking a short break, but I know that we're going to have an interview with our victors, so stick around, folks. We will be right back.
All right, folks, perfect. And just double checking that my mic was good. We are all set then, folks. Welcome. Congratulations to Universal Basic Income for this big win. We are joined by the full team, minus Brian Sang, who has a bit of a bedtime, probably wanted to go get some food, something along those lines. But we are joined by the rest.
SC14.
What's that?
Brian's gonna go play Final
Oh
Fantasy.
yeah. True. Final Fantasy is
Yeah, he
awaiting.
had a hot date in Final Fantasy, so
There you go.
Yeah.
So we do have the rest of the team joining us here for our winners interview. Our newly crowned season 6 Mythic champions. We have Team YUBI here. How are you folks feeling after the big win?
Feeling pretty
hop in?
good. I think
honestly relieved. I was
Yeah.
really worried. I was super stressed out the entire series.
Let's talk about getting ready for this series because of course we are in the anime revival arc. The script is too strong. We have the final matchup, the lower bracket finals that were played yesterday. The matchup of the economic systems, you folks do come out on top against the trickle down economics too. So you have the short turnaround with the 24 hours after that match to come into finals. What was the prep like coming into today?
So our prep for playoffs is typically that I go through and I get a list of all the champions we're likely to have to face, and then look up on lolalytics.com what they're weak against that we play, and then make a giant table of like this champion is S tier against it, this champion is A tier against it, whatever. And then I stare at that table really hard and think about what champions would make cohesive team comps, and then I make 5 team comps for the series because there's only 5 games, and that helps not only with like game 1 where you have to come up with a plan, but also it helps make adaptation faster mid-series because you have already like pre-made other team comps. So it's like, oh, we need to do more of this type of team comp. That's hard to do with the turnaround, so I just didn't get much sleep Sunday night and Monday night doing that for TDE and then SLR back-to-back nights. But it is a lot faster when you can just look up empirically what champions work and what champions don't on Analytics. Then it's just the thought process of which of these 5 champions work together in a cohesive draft scenario.
And of course, we all bow and scrape at the foot of the altar that is Lolalytics. And I do have to say, looking at how the series turned out, especially with the champion matchups and the drafts that both you and SLR had, I can clearly see that the prep was done and was done well. I think you folks had a good read on what you wanted to play, a good read on what they might want and how to match up. Although I found the drafting to be a little suspect in some of the later games, some of the things pivots I would not have done. But let's dive into the series for game 1 and 2, which I think were the most exciting games to watch because they were so back and forth. Of course, in game 1, that was the game that sort of slipped out of your hands. It was a very, very good early game on the side of SLR. But in the end, you folks were able to try and claw back in that game. But stopwatch is too strong. So who wants to give me some thoughts here? Maybe we'll start with you, Jeff, on game 1, because the bot side in game 1 was very strong into you folks. The Trist Blitz was not connecting in the way that I think you folks wanted, and the push from Trist into that Varus Renata led to a lot of deaths on your part. So how was it for you folks on the team, for you playing into that lane, but of course as a team trying to make it back into this game? You very nearly did, but in the end it was an SLR win.
Yeah, I think Luru and Tef as a lane are very like non-accident prone. They won't exactly take over a lane, but they'll absolutely punish you overstepping, especially with Renata. Renata's a really good champion into a lot of what me and Brian want to do in lane, and it doesn't really give us the chance to play these nice edge fights that we want to play. But I think me and Brian sort of got it together after we sort of spoke about what we wanted to do as a lane and just sort of thinking about how we want to approach the lane. I think as we got more comfortable, we realized we just wanted to ban the Renata. And from that point forward, it felt like their bot lane never really had a chance. I think I was a billion CS up against Senna. For some reason, I think Tef was trolling. He took all the CS. And then in the last game, I never even saw my lane opponent. I just went mid lane. But overall, I think Tef and Lou are really strong bot lane. They really sort of pushed me and Brian to our limits. And I'm glad we were able to come on top.
And while we are on the topic of game 1, because you folks did draft the Nocturne Galio, Malphite, all of the go in buttons. But one thing, Civilock, that was noticed in game, um, that R key is a button on the keyboard that you can use as Galio. It's a little bit of a fun fact. Did not see you use the Galio alt early. Was that just sort of a reaction to sort of the tempo of the game, or was there a thought that you guys were going to play a little slower around trying to use all of the global ultimate buttons?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tough game to play the Galio in. Definitely the game plan was to try and use Galio Nocturnal early to try and snowball the map and make roams, but unfortunately every time I looked around the map, my jungler was already dead, so it was hard to get that Galio ultimate off. So, if I was playing something like Twisted Fate, for example, I could have a little more control over the roams that I make and have more control over how I set up fights, but as Galio, you're kind of held hostage to the decisions of your teammate, for better or for worse. Galio ult is a really strong ability, though, and much higher theoretical upside than Twisted Fate Ultimate. But, as it was, I just kind of got stuck in the position where I had to control mid and then counter their map movement. So even though I didn't cast the Galio ult early, I was just trying to kind of lean to each side of the map and cover so that neither of my side lanes could get dived. Try to stall the game out so we could try to recover. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but I was able to get some bigger Galio ults in team fights. It's just hard when we don't have the burst damage to actually commit to finish those kills.
And then, of course, the main story, as I touched on earlier in Game 1, Luru just absolutely abusing the stopwatch, had that late game Zonias, and that was kind of the backbreaker for you folks in that Game 1. Looking at Game 2, though, again, another barn burner game. Civilock, did finally break out what we saw for the rest of the series in the likes of the Vel'Koz, or maybe it was not. It definitely didn't seem like Vel'Koz. But, you were getting the long-range nasty ultimates there. We saw a smorgasbord of mid lanes coming in to try and answer it from Pure Llama. This game that was the Vel'Koz Cassio matchup. The Varus, though, we had the Varus Renata coming through again on the bot side for them. You folks did have a better handle on the Varus in this game, Jeff, with the Ashe in that matchup, and then the Maokai yet again in the hands of Brian saying can't have a series with YUBI without the tree duty. So I'll open this up to let's why don't we go to the top lane? Or actually, let's go to the jungle on this one. I do want to get Utility Monster, your thoughts on sort of this bloody early game that was going on in Game 2, where both you and Brendan were getting involved around the map.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing Volibear that game, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a champion that really does want to get involved early. You have a lot of stats, so doing my best there. And I was on a little bit of a clock because Brendan was on Zac, which does outscale. And I think Brendan played it relatively intelligently. Instead of just power farming and trying to outscale, he did try and slow me down and with the counter ganks and the ganks of his own. But yeah, ultimately, I think we just had more stats at the dragon fights and showed up, one too many times and got the soul pressure going. So definitely an interesting game to play. Probably my favorite game of the series.
There was, of course, the famous Hexel Baron trade. It never feels good when that kind of trade has to happen.
Yeah,
and then
but sometimes you have to make unfavorable trades.
Flip. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Red, let me bring you in on this one here because the matchup in the top side, you're off the tank duty. You get something fun. You get your hands on the Urgot, and you're matching up against the Set in this game. What were your thoughts? Sort of similar question when I was just talking to Utility Monster about. Was your thought on the top side bloodiness early? Especially as we get ready to talk about Game 3, that was really bloody in your hands on the top side.
Yeah. So in Game 2, I'm pretty comfortable on the Set Urgot matchup. There seems to be a lot of players in solo queue that think Set is an Urgot counter. And it is to an extent in lane because you kind of bully Urgot around and then typically in solo queue you end the game fast enough to where it doesn't matter. But I'm comfortable enough on the matchup that it doesn't really concern me. And there's a little bit of a whoopsie where I'm not sure if it was red buff or a minion took the kill from the kill because we were trying to get the Zac kill to me top lane, and that kind of put me in a weird position where I over pushed to get more gold, and then I got ganked, and then, you know, bloody shenanigans ensued. But you know, I'm happy I got my solo bolo off in the game, and then, you know, I was able to show up to team fights and properly frontline for my team and get a couple crucial ults onto members to execute them. And I was really happy with how we kind of drew out the Renata ultis and stuff. You know, after game 1, we recognized that playing our short range beat 'em up stuff, dive compositions isn't going to work into this, so we switched things up, went for more range, and I was really happy with how we played around the Renata.
And it seems like there was a lot of line ultimates, big, slow line ultimates coming out. All we were missing was the Nami ultimate, because we saw Maokai's coming out, we saw Ornn, we saw the Renata ultimate. You know, I kind of feel like it ties in with the Varus ult, because that goes super slow. It can be easy to miss. I do want to stick with you as we start to talk about Game 3, Red. Looking at Game 3, because of course there was the very, very aggro level 1 kill onto you. The interesting thing about that, though, was the Trundle being in the top lane against this Shen, as opposed to having the Trundle in the jungle and then putting Anti on this tank duty with the Maokai matchup. So they opted into having you against this Trundle. He gets the level 1 kill, and you just sort of brush it off. You know, you just have to get your ass beat, and when he hits level 2 before you, and just bleed you out there. But, you know, level 3 comes, you get the Spirit's Refuge. It's a GG there. So talk to me, if you would, a little bit about how things were feeling for you in this top side when you have such a bloody early game. You're already down, coming into lane against a Trundle with the longsword. You have the really rough level 1 and level 2, but then, you know, you do your work, you get your solo kill, and then it's off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, I really butchered the level 1, you know, in my head when, and it really is on me for just assuming, but you know, the call was made that the enemy team was fanning, so I'm assuming that the Trundle is going to be in the standard fan position that I use, and that's not the case, and I ended up getting stuck out. And I decided that it wasn't worth blowing my flash level 1 just for a single kill, even though it was first blood, because I knew I had the ignite and I could trade the kill back. After that, I kind of overstayed. I really wanted to fix my wave, and
yeah.
my
That was
brain
good.
didn't register that I don't have teleport, and I overstayed and died again, and that second death is what really put me in a bad position. You know, there was a couple times throughout the game where I was like, I need some help crashing this wave, and my team basically just told me to fuck off. And so, you know, it wasn't a fun game to play for a large portion of it, but it got to the point where, you know, as long as I play around, you know, not letting him just beat on me with lethal tempo, and I let the stacks fall off and I go for shorter trades, I eventually start to win the war of attrition, because I can just block so much of his damage. And, you know, the rest of my team really pulled through, and I was able to, you know, just give him a shield to help win the fights. So I'm really happy with how my team played that game.
Speaking of someone who did not have a lot of fun early, of course, one thing for Civillock, looking at that mid lane matchup, the Anivia Vel'Koz matchup was a little odd. You know, of course, you came up big with the big numbers at the end, a lot of kills, but early game, it looked like you were having a little bit of trouble dealing with the slow and just the amount of damage that you can get caught out with the Anivia. So you had to burn the flash against the wall one time. What was your thoughts on this early game matchup for you, Civillock?
Yeah, a lot of it was unfamiliar with the matchup. So I don't quite know Nivea's ranges, so I mispositioned around the wall a couple times. With the support roam coming up, that also ended up pressuring me, and I got trapped a couple times. And that put me in not a great position, but I don't think it was ever a terrible lane state. I was actually quite surprised to see them pick the Anivia and the Vel'Koz. It makes sense for their team comp, but in terms of the matchup and the dynamic into our team comp, Anivia is really good at counter-engaging or stuffing out opposing engage. We actually have no real hard commit engage tools on our team. other than Olaf, who can sort of play independently on the flank. So once they have a Nivea in, their range is so short. Because Nivea is really good at punishing other teams from going in. She can't really interact with champions who outrange her. So even though I got set behind a little bit early, I was pretty confident that we could scale up. That eventually there was just no way for them to engage hard enough before I got pre-fight poke off. And in terms of the 1v1 interaction, Vel'Koz is quite strong against Anivia. I'd be happy counterpicking Anivia using Vel'Koz, just because the range advantage is quite brutal.
The one last thing I want to touch on in game 3 was that it seemed like there was going to be a little bit more of that back forth energy that we were seeing in the first 2 games, basically up until there was a little bit of a hard Baron flip on their part. They popped the Rift Herald to go top, and I thought, okay, cool. They're gonna try and dance with you guys on Baron, just sort of make you go the long way around. They're gonna get this pressure from this Herald, and then they just straight up like hard committed to the Baron, like while you guys were just walking up to them, and it just went really bad. Like that was like a 5 that was like white. I'm pretty sure it was an ace, just like a lot of money bags filled up for you folks, and it was just really tough. So I would want to get your thoughts on this, maybe Jeff. What was your thoughts seeing this Baron flip happen in front of your eyes?
Yeah, I think all of the comps we really put together after the first game made SLR be the ones that have to force into us. We have the Vel'Koz, we have a lot of long range options to just sort of poke them out or look for picks with the Blitzcrank. So it ended up being one of those situations where they either have to fight into us, which is losing, or they start the Baron to force us to try to run into them. So in game, a lot of our comms is just me yelling, slow down, play slow. We play for poke, look for picks over and over again. It didn't work out on the first game. My teammates had a little too many go buttons. Once we reduced the amount of go buttons, and I just filled everyone's ears with the sound of my voice, telling them to take our time and just poke them out. It really helped us out. I think we sort of played these fights perfectly, and it really goes to show like how coordinated we've gotten over the last few seasons. Where once we are playing our style of comps, everyone just is in full sync with each other and playing these fights really well.
And that is going to bring us to the match point for you folks. This Cinderella story, you folks get the lower bracket bump into the finals. You guys have the match point over SLR, which has been chilling, waiting for you guys to reclimb into the finals. And this final game, the interesting thing was I felt that for SLR there was a real distinct lack of just. There's a lack of just gumption in their draft, because they had the Bel'Veth coming through, and then just a lot of low damage stuff other than the Varus, and putting a lot of eggs in that Luru basket for that last game. Anti fully on the tank duty with the Ornn, which was getting worked on pretty hard by Red. But I do want to start off by asking you, Utility Monster, about your thoughts on this game 4, this match point game where you are piloting something comfortable with the Volibear, and then you get to see the Bel'Veth. So what was it like tearing up that Bel'Vussy?
I'm a big fan of Bel'Vussy myself, and it was just absolutely wonderful to see Brendan just sprint it down into me over and over, and I got to partake as much as I wanted. It was delicious. No, but the Bel'Veth is actually a very strong pick. I don't think Bel'Veth is something that Brendan is super practiced on, but it really relies on getting in a coordinated environment the Heralds and Barons to get the fishes, and I think we did a really good job denying the Heralds. We gave the first one but killed Bel'Veth instantly, and then the second one we just took ourselves and didn't give up a Baron. So I think that literally limits Bel'Veth's potential if you don't get a snowball going early, and our vision was also good early to prevent that. So I think that our playing around it was good, and like Jeff said earlier, we really switched focus after game 1 from a sort of really dive-heavy battle ball comp to a comp that had more range and was able to take fights on our own terms more often and abuse our macro more. We felt like mid-series, that was the adjustment to make. That was our advantage that we had on the day. And Belveth is not a good counter to that because Belveth doesn't have proactive engage tools herself. You have to sort of run into her. So I understand the thought process of wanting to do something different, but in the end, I think our strategy just worked out too well against that champion.
And there's not much more to say about this game. I do want to give last thoughts on this game to Red because really powerful performance here. Anti, like I said, stuck on the Ornn duty, and boy, did you let him know that he was on the Ornn duty with the Sejuani. You take the Ignite in that matchup, you're absolutely chasing this guy down multiple times, just beating his ass. Making sure that he loses minions, loses waves, loses gold, loses his experience, and then at a certain point, he's just a very sad goat man at the very end. So, Red, what was it like to assert dominance here in this final game of the matchup against Anti?
I was kind of saying this in game, more hype at the time, but I genuinely feel like as a player, that was probably my best top performance in the past 2 seasons. I definitely felt like every single time I could have interrupted something, I did. I was always focusing the right targets. I was, it felt really good to play that game specifically. And, going into it, I was a little, shell shocked from the previous game, from the early game. And, I was debating on whether or not I should take Flash in order to, try to deny Belveth like resets and stuff. So when I engage, if I get low, but ultimately I decided to just take Ignite and beat the shit out of Anti.
Well, that does bring us to sort of our final thoughts here on the season. I do want to ask before I get your final thoughts, though. You folks are very, very laden with hardware now. Lots of wins, lots of championships across multiple events here in Friend or Foe. You guys have all of the anime profile pictures you could want, courtesy of Chris Sunga at this point. Are we going to see yet again another return of the Catboys for Universal Basic Income? Will we see you folks in the future?
We've been talking about this. I think FOF is still not sure what they're going to do next season, whether they're going to have a Mythic, and if they do, what the system will be. I'm interested in trying out some role swapping. I think Brian's interested in Final Fantasy retirement. So I don't know. It's possible that we don't come back next season as YUBI, but I'm sure we'll be around in one way or another.
I think Burst Limit. I was talking with him, and he really wants to. He told us if we won this, we would be more dominant than Team Ace was, and that he would have to return to FOF to reclaim his throne. So I think it would be really cool to play against a team that he brings. But like Josh said, we're not really sure about our future. We'll see what happens next season. But even if we don't end up playing, I'm sure all of us will be around.
Right. Well, let's tie it up with some final thoughts then, folks. We'll go bot to top on this one. So we'll be starting with Jeff on this. Jeff, any reflections, any final thoughts, any shout outs, anything you'd like to leave with us here in your Mythic Championship interview?
Oh, I have a ton of people I think is worth shouting out. I think given that this might be my last time playing FF, I think it's worth shouting out all the supports I've had. Obviously, bigger shout outs to Brian. Playing bowling with him is an absolute pleasure, and people I'm sad people don't get to experience that. Shout out to Bill. Bill really made me reconsider the way I think about the lane. It's sort of not really an auto win button like Brian is, so I really had to up my own game. Civil Lock, while we got to play as in the Captain's Draft as Team Spider, was an absolute blast. He made me run really fast. And Freelancer Carver, my least favorite support to play with because he's a madman. I used to think of myself as an aggressive player, but he just goes crazy. Aside from that, huge shout out to all the people I talked with this season. I think meeting and sort of coaching RLS was really an enjoyable experience for me. I think it really changed the way I thought about the game and how champions are drafted, and it was really fun just meeting all of the people at RLS. And I hope Anti and Tef come back and get the trophy they deserve because they're really cool people to hang out with. But even though they didn't win today, Since I'm a part of it now, I can finally say the line. It's another dub for the Ruby League server.
Civilock, what about you?
Yeah. So I feel really happy about the season. I feel like I honestly played the best League of Legends I've ever played in my life in this season's broadcast games. And I think that was really validating for me as someone who really struggles to climb in solo queue because I'm a terrible laner. And I'm not generally good at eking out advantages in snowballing, but I think kind of my strength is suppressing the lane and neutralizing lane. So I think getting to play in a competitive setting where I can rely on my team to provide that early pressure and I understand what my job is and my role is, and we draft around allowing me to scale comfortably without having to take major risks. I feel like that really lets me shine in this environment. I'm also really grateful that I got the MVP votes. I did get first place for overall MVP, which is a little disappointing, but I'm glad that people do recognize a lot of the strengths that I bring to the team, even if that doesn't always show up in lane necessarily. But I do take a lot of pride actually in having a really deep champion pool and having sort of the Swiss Army knife solution of I know I'm not the best individual player, but if I can play the perfect character for every draft situation, that's how I make up for it and pull my weight in terms of the team strategy. Um, yeah, I'm really grateful for my team, especially Utility Monster. I know I like to make fun of him all the time. We're really long-term friends, long-standing friends, and I really appreciate all the time and effort he puts into preparing our strategy and coordinating our team. I know it's kind of a hard and thankless job because every time he spends his 30 minutes doing prep, we all show up to draft and then complain about whatever boring champion we're going to play. But he gets results, I can't really argue against that. And we rely on him a lot to coordinate our team and set us up for success strategically. And I think that's a big part of how we're able to adapt so quickly within a best of 5 series after every loss because we have so much prep and so many draft permutations already thought out so that our adjustments super fast. And I think our whole team was able to trust each other because of the experience we have together to identify that we could play a longer range strategy and force SLR to commit. So yeah, thank you for everyone who voted me for MVP. Thank you to all my friends who competed against us this season and made this probably the most fun I've ever had within an FOF season so far. So thank you to the whole FOF community for making this happen.
Utility Monster, you're up.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy to, get to play with a great group of people. It's fun to do the prep behind the scenes. It's fun to do the strategic work, and pretty validating to see that even if I'm not, the one making every single shot call on the Rift, that the general philosophy and approach to gameplay is something that I feel like I've, led with and everyone else has bought into and agrees with and is on the same page with. So it's fun to play as a cohesive team like that. It's really rewarding, even when we don't win. Honestly, I was pretty at peace even after I thought we had been knocked out in semis. So yeah, just great league, great team. Pretty happy to just be here.
And Red, final thoughts.
I want to give a huge shout out to everyone on the team, especially this season. With Brian coming in, there was a bit of adjustment where, like the pool of top laners is getting stronger, and we're gaining a stronger support. So I kind of transitioned from more of a strong side top laner to more of a weak side top laner. Even though like some of my picks stayed the same. And I know that there was a lot of frustrations from me in certain games where things didn't go well, and I appreciate my team for understanding that I just want to, play good League of Legends with them. And I appreciate them for letting me on the team last season and staying this season. I'm glad I finally got to tie up my wins with the rest of the UB members after my crushing loss in season 3. Or no, not my wins, just my finals art. But it's basically the same thing. I would like to give a huge shout out to all the staff and all of the teams that make this possible. Without everyone's involvement, none of this would happen. And I'd like to give a real special shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Sunga. You know, you're a fucking madman. I can't believe you put all this together, and I can't believe you did all this art in 24 hours and set all this up. You know, I love you. You know, yeah.
Right on. Well, of course, I will echo that sentiment. Everyone knows that Chris Sunga is absolutely cracked. Looking at all of the great work that he's put together all season, but especially knowing he was burning the midnight oil for this entire 2 days to try and make sure that both this lower bracket finals and then this finals comes together with a lot of pizzazz and a lot of pomp and circumstance. So, of course, shouts out to Sunga for all of that great work. And as we get ready, folks, to wrap up, want to congratulate one final time our winners for Mythic, Team YUBI. It's been a real blast to see you folks, especially over the last couple of seasons. I feel like you get better every time. You guys, really put in the effort that, makes it worthwhile for those of us on staff to keep doing this stuff because you guys take it really seriously. We appreciate that kind of buy-in. I know I do, especially since I'm here for damn near all of it. So, and with that, folks, my final thoughts here to say are, it's been a real fun season, both Heroic and Mythic. It's been really interesting games all around, lots of twists, lots of turns, lots of ups and downs, but always a blast, always great to see some fun games with some good people, some good teams. So it couldn't do it without the support of our teams, of course, being here, but also all of the people behind the scenes. There's too many to name off the top of my head, but I will give a shout out, of course, to our main tournament organizers, Ryan and Isaac, really coming through, as well as Brendan, really making these things happen and putting in the long hours, taking heaps of abuse and late Discord messages. So, as well as all of the people who commit to helping us ref, all of the people who've stepped onto the caster desk to make sure that there is some hype put behind each of these matches. So like I said, too many people to name here at the top, but so many people are what make this Friend or Foe product possible. So really awesome to be a part of it. And who knows what the future will hold, but hopefully there will be some big news regarding the future of Friend or Foe before you know it. So congratulations again to our winners. Thank you to all of our teams who participated, all of our staff, and all of our fans who make it possible. We'll be back before you know it with more fun Friend or Foe action. But until then, enjoy a good rest, folks. Celebrate our winners. And have a good one, folks. Have a good holidays. And we will see you in the new year.
you right.